Hi there guys, Tom Quayle here. Hope you're all doing very well indeed. Today, I'm back to check out another product. This is Neural DSP's Archetype Abasi plugin. And for those not in the know, Neural DSP have been absolutely knocking it out of the park recently with these plugin releases that essentially model an entire rig for an amazing guitar player. So far we've had the Plini plugin, the Nolly plugin, and this is the Abasi plugin. So obviously Tosin Abasi's entire rig, within reason obviously, not his entire pedal board. So what you've got here is an amp simulation and pedal simulation plugin with some amazing speaker simulation as well and really great EQ section that's going to give you some tones that are not just based around Abasi's or Tosin Abasi's tones, but really just a general killer set of tones. And Neural DSP really are producing, in my opinion, some of the best amp simulation plugins on the market that rival many of the highest end hardware amp simulation and effects processors on the market as well. Really, things have got to that point now, which is very impressive. So the first thing that you notice when you actually load this up is just how amazing it looks before you've even played anything. It just looks beautiful. As I scroll through some of these kind of amps and pedals and EQ sections here, the interface, the GUI is just absolutely beautiful. It's very inspiring just to load up, just like the Plini and Nolly plugins were, or are, I should say. So let me go through this interface here. Now I should point out two things here. First of all, that I am being paid by Neural DSP to do this video, full disclosure there. However, they've not told me what to say. They're not checking the video and saying, edit this out, or, why didn't you say that? It's my opinions. I'm playing through it and I genuinely really, really like these plugins. So everything I say here is my opinions and not kind of filtered through what Neural DSP have told me to say, as it were. So the second thing is I'm actually using the standalone version of this here. So this is not, even though I've got Studio One in the background here, the reason Studio One is there is because I'm recording my voice and actually the output from a secondary audio interface here. So as I'm playing, there you can see the audio has been recorded in Studio One, but this is the standalone version because of the way I need to run this to actually record the audio for this video. So you've got both, when you buy this plugin, a standalone version here, and you've got the DAW native version. So either the VST or Pro Tools version, whatever you want to use, they're all included. And this standalone version, the latency is incredibly low. It's an ASIO based standalone version, and you can get the latency super, super low. So as I'm playing here, it's just like playing through an amp. There's virtually no latency at all. Very cool. Now the plugin itself is divided into 6 sections. We've got these 5 sections along the top where we've got our pedal section, our input pedals if you like. So we've got the Logos compressor and the Pathos drive pedal or distortion pedal here. Again, both pedals that Tosin makes via his company and utilizes on his pedal board as well. The Logos is basically a compression pedal that really pumps the attack or front end of the note. That's great for kind of Tosin's kind of thumping technique. The Pathos is a very high gain lead channel style overdrive stroke distortion, more in the kind of distortion category, with a 3-band EQ, volume, gain, and then this voicing switch, which we'll get into later. Then we've got our amp section. There's 3 amps here. We've got a clean amp, which is a very kind of almost hi-fi-esque, very, very clean amplifier that's great as a pedal platform for the 2 pedals that we looked at earlier. And also it's got a very unique blend knob, which we'll get into shortly as well. It blends in a piezo-esque kind of sound, even if you don't have piezo pickups on your guitar. Very nice indeed. Then as we move to the second amp, we've got this crunch amp here, which it says crunch. This is super high gain, as you'll find with the 2 gainier kind of amplifiers. There's so much going on here. Then we've got this tight control, which is basically going to give us more tightness on the low end and a presence control on this amp as well. And then if we move to the third amp, this is basically our super high gain 100-watt style head, or 50-watt style head if you like, that's going to give you all the gain you require if you're into the gent thing or super high gain kind of lead tones. And then we've got this attack switch on here, which is going to really pump the front end of the note and the pick attack. And you may have noticed that all of the amps have these two switches on as well. So we've got a high cut or boost and a low cut and boost. And this is kind of more in the kind of high mids and low mids. So it's not, you know, like a presence or a bright switch. It's a little bit more lower down in the upper mids frequencies. So you'll hear that as well. Then if we move on, we've got a 9-band EQ, graphic EQ for each of the different amps that you can see here. Okay, color coded to match the amps. Then we've got this incredibly comprehensive speaker simulation section with 2 sets of mics on here that are identical. So we've got a SM57, the 421, an AKG 414, and a Roya R121. You can also load your own custom IRs in there as well if you're into things like Celestion or Ownhammer or Redwires IRs. Then for each of these, running in stereo, of course, I'm in the stereo mode. Even though this says mono, this is actually outputting in stereo. We've got a position, which moves around on the speaker cone. We've got a distance from the speaker as well, and then the level, panning, and then we've got our phase control for each of these mics if you should need it for sculpting different sounds, and then we can switch them on and off independently as well. You can also grab the mic and move it around as you so desire. And then we've got one on the right as well, so we've mic'd up both of these speakers, the upper speakers on this 4x12. Now, unlike the Nolly and the Plini plugin, we've got one speaker cab here, which actually makes things a little bit simpler. Tosin obviously using a 4x12 for all of these different amps. But there's something like 700 odd IRs in here if you combine all the different mics, all the different speaker positions, mic positions and distances. So tons and tons of flexibility and tweakability here. And then finally, we've got these 2 output pedals. So this is the Kronos D delay pedal and the Kronos R delay and reverb. And these sound staggeringly good, really, really good, as you, again, would have found with the Plini or the Nolly plugin. So if I just play you the reverb here, let me just switch back to the clean amp here a second. So in fact, let me just grab one of the clean presets here. Okay, so let me show you the delay first of all. So sorry, a bit noisy in my studio. So if I turn off the reverb, you can hear there it's running in stereo. If we mix a bit more of this in, beautiful sounding delay. Now if we bring the reverb in, this thing sounds staggeringly good. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful delay and reverb effects there. So let's go through a few things here. Now, just before we do that, we do have this section as well, which is our input and output gain controls. We've got a gate on there, which is a very, very good quality gate. Mono or stereo operation, that's more to do with the input. Oversampling, I'm just going to run this in high. It's not a massively CPU intensive plugin. So I can run this oversampling in high for better sound quality. Presets here, of which there's quite a lot that come with the actual plugin from Nolly, Neural DSP and Tosin as well. I've got some presets here I've created. We can share those as well. And then we've got our metering. So very, very nice kind of layout, very nice and easy to understand. So if we come back to, let's start with the clean amp here. The first thing I want to show you is this blend control. So let me dial this all the way out. And again, sorry about the noise. I've got single coil, so my studio is a little bit noisy. The blend control, if we dial it all the way out, we've got the basic sound of the amp. So let's turn on these two here, drop the mix down. So we've got some ambience going on. Very cool sound. It sounds great, straight, you know, out of the box, as they say. But we can blend in this piezo here. And again, I say piezo, that's the kind of the way they describe it. It's not a piezo, it's just an EQ'd kind of DI'd style guitar. But it adds such a pleasant quality to the sound, such presence. Beautiful, really, really nice tones. You'll hear there's a lot of bottom end on there, so this is really kind of dialed in for Tosin's 8-string guitar. Now, if I bring that high-end kind of boost in, Hopefully you can hear there what I mean about the kind of upper mids as opposed to it being like a presence control. Then the same with the low ends. Now, with my particular setup, this is a bit too much low end. You can see I'm actually starting to clip when I do that. Sounds amazing. Really, really, really nice clean tones. Now we dial out the blend again. It's so much fun to play, it sounds great. If we crank the master here, bring the level down. Really fantastic sounding. Now here is where we get into the pedals. So you can see I've got the Logos on at the moment. If I switch that off, very dynamic. Now if I dial the Logos in and we increase the compression here and increase the level, you can hear it's really pumping up the front end attack of the note really, really nicely. Really great sustain as well, so that's a really useful addition. Now the pathos, this thing sounds amazing. If I start with just the controls as they are, and I'm going to dial in just to 12 o'clock with these, the EQ settings here. Now, just to show you really quickly where the amp is set, if I just turn the pathos off again, breaking up just a little bit. Now, even if that was the only drive sound on this particular plugin, that would be enough for me. It sounds so, so good. But if you play with the EQ controls just on the smooth setting, again, I'm just clipping a little bit, just pull that output down. Combine that with the Logos and just listen to how beautiful that reverb is. So good. If we pull the mids out here, pull the treble down and go to the edge setting, amazing. That pedal sounds so good. You've got tons of flexibility in terms of sculpting sounds there as well. So we'll just turn that off a second. Okay, so coming back to this amp, let's go to the second amplifier here, which is our kind of, as they say, a crunch sound. This, to me, there's so much gain on here that you could use this totally as the only amp for your lead sounds even, or kind of higher gain kind of crunch sounds and rhythm sounds. So again, just as it sort of comes straight out of the box, if you like, with the EQ control set at 12 o'clock. So let me show you the tight control. If we have that all the way up, things get super tight on the bottom end. So it's kind of subtle, but obviously as you dial that tightness out, things get a little bit kind of, you know, less tight, obviously, on the low end. Very, very cool indeed. Let's play with the EQ controls a little bit. So the treble. Bring the output down. Sounds absolutely incredible, really, really great sound. And we've not even played with the EQ and the speaker simulation yet. So let's check out the third amp. This is our super, super high gain amplifier. We've got everything switched off here, including the attack and the low and high boosts, if you like. EQ set fairly flat, and we get this. Let's turn on the high. So totally crazy, amazing sounds here. Really, really, really cool. And again, so far, not even touched this section just here. So let's go back to the second amp. Okay, now let's go to the speaker simulation here just to show you this. Okay, we'll start with just one mic on. And we'll shift to the 421. Turn the second mic on. Let's grab the 57. So masses of flexibility there as well. And then finally, going across to the output section in terms of the delay and the reverb, one of the cool things that I've found here is that you can actually use the delay as a modulation pedal as well. So I have this clean modulated delay preset. Check this out. Now if we add in the piezo sound as well, blend even more of that in. Very, very, very cool sounds indeed. Just show you a couple of the presets just to keep us going. So, Monster Attack. So lots of presets by Nolly and Tosin as well. The Quack. So a whole range of tones available. It's an entire rig basically. And yeah, just fantastic sounding delays and reverbs. Great speaker simulation section, the EQ section, which we didn't really even look at here, but just offers even more tonal flexibility. 3 great sounding amplifiers that look cool as well, really, really nice. And obviously our 2 compressor and drive pedals going on there as well. And of course, all of this can be saved as your own presets. I've saved some here as well. You can export those presets and share them with people online if you wanted to. Very easy to do so. Search the presets if you end up with loads of them. It's just fantastic. And the final thing to mention as well is full MIDI integration. So you can map any of the parameters to MIDI controllers for use live or in your DAW. It's just staggeringly good. So you can check out the link, guys, in the description below to check out the Archetype Abasi plugin from Neural DSP. Check it out. You can download the demo as well. The actual plugin requires an iLock, usually software, but you can also use a hardware iLock as well. And that's it for kind of authorization. Very simple indeed. And as I say, the latency is superb. Doesn't take too much of a hit on your CPU. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.